A Nigerian military drone strike killed at least 85 civilians, including children, in Tudun Biri village, Kaduna State. The attack occurred on Sunday night while residents were celebrating the Prophet Muhammad's birthday. The Nigerian military, that is, claims it was targeting terrorists and bandits, but mistakenly bombed the village. This incident is the latest in a series of errant bombings that have killed civilians in Nigeria's conflict zone. I think the most memorable one was the one in Iran, which was really took quite a number of lives in 2017. That's in an IDP camp. Well, Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has ordered a full investigation into the attack, but concerns remain about accountability and preventing future tragedies, which we certainly hope will not happen again. Tonight, we have Comrade Jamilu Aliyu. Charanchi is the national coordinator, a coalition of northern groups. Comrade, good evening to you. We also have Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, spokesperson for the Northern Elders Forum. And of course, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, good evening to you. We have Gbemisola Animasawun, who is an associate professor at the Center for Peace and Strategic Studies in the University of Ilorin. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I'll start with Abdul-Azeez Suleiman. Sir, what's the position of the Northern Elders Forum on this very, very unfortunate incident?
Thank you very much. The Northern Elders Forum finds the incident unfortunate, regrettable, and deliberate. The Northern Elders Forum is convinced that this couldn't have been an accident because it would be an accident too many. You see, this what they call accidental killings have taken place in northern Nigeria more than 20 times in different places. And for the Nigerian military, want us to believe that they are yet to address the problems that are giving rise to this persistent killings of innocent citizens is really unacceptable. So we believe this is deliberate, this is calculated, and is mischievous, because these things are happening only in northern Nigeria. And we are also disturbed that more than about 40 hours, no arrest has been made. At least there has to be someone who is controlling the drone, who gave the command, who gave the orders. So for the nation, for government to remain silent without declaring any arrest is really suspicious.
All right. I want to go to Gbemisola Animasawun. Mr. Animasawun, what would you say are the potential causes of such a tragic misidentification and attack? Because they said that they were following some terrorists from their hideout, and that attack was meant to eliminate terrorists. So what do you think could cause such a tragic misidentification? We're talking about the Nigerian military here. You know, was it due to poor intelligence or what?
Thank you very much. This is not pardonable in any way. And this is actually unfortunate. Talking about the causes, until a thorough investigation is conducted, we can't actually know what was actually responsible for it. But this is not unprecedented. And unfortunately, there has been no account from the past occurrences. However, from a scholarly point of view, the immediate reason for this will be poor marksmanship on the part of the Nigerian military. And this comes with very severe implications for the mobilization of the whole of society in fighting terrorism. Because once you lose the confidence of the people that you are supposed to protect, then you are giving leverage to the terrorists for them to say, you are losing the hearts and minds of the people, in short, by some of these unpardonable errors, if they are actually errors. Anyway, as the Northern Footman has said. But we have reasons to believe that this happened inadvertently, because one would not expect the military to bomb citizens of Nigeria for no reason, But again, this has happened, and how do we now manage this, and how do we prevent future occurrence? But in terms of having a clear-cut explanation as to what was responsible for it, it will be preposterous of me to put my finger on any factor as responsible.
But Animasawun, I mean, yes, you're right.
What we need is a transparent investigation.
Yes, I was going to ask you if, because at the end of the day, if the military says we were targeting terrorists, they went with an unarmed aerial vehicle, UAV, or what some call a drone, are we going to say, okay, maybe poor intelligence, inadequate training, or maybe a technical malfunction? I'm not asking what you think, could lead to such an error as it's been described.
It could be one of these, and it could be all of this. And what I think is important for us going forward is for us to have a very transparent and inclusive investigation. That is what will restore the confidence of the people in the Nigerian military. Because if you, going by what the other statesman just said, there's a break. We have lost an important part of our, counterinsurgency, our counterinsurgency repertoire. Because once we lose the society, then who are we fighting for? And listening to the other statesman, he has said it that the Northern Elders Forum will not accept this as a mistake.
Okay, all right. Comrade Jamilu,
Charanchi is to make sure there's an inclusive and transparent investigation.
Thank you very much. Comrade Jamilu, Charanchi, the Nigerian armed forces, this is the first time we're hearing of such bombings that have claimed mass collateral casualties. So we remember the incident in Iran, Borno State, near the Cameroonian border, where in 2017, a Nigerian Air Force jet mistakenly bombed an internally displaced persons camp, killing at least 150 or 15 persons, including 8 workers, some of them attached to the Red Cross. That jet went circulated, according to the eyewitnesses, around a well where they were fetching water, came back, threw a bomb, killed several people, came back, and then threw another one, just similar to what happened in Igabi, where some of the survivors said whilst they were trying to help those who were injured by the first drone strike, the drone came back for another one, and those who were sort of first respondents were now killed to increase the casualty. So it's happened before, but the Nigerian Air Force, which we've known to be behind such bombings before now, or operations, let's call it that, had said sometime, this was this last year, actually, October last year, that they had begun a probe of accidental airstrikes on civilians, is what the Air Force said last year. They began a probe on accidental airstrikes on civilians. And they were saying they were going to investigate that ground incident. You had the likes of April 13, 2020, where 17 people, including children, were killed by a NAF, Nigerian Air Force jet fighter in Borno State, and so on and so forth. So as the national coordinator of the Northern groups, have you seen any such investigation? Have people been called to testify, and have people been held accountable for these unfortunate incidents in your part of the country?
Well, actually, our opinion might not be different from that of the Northern Elders Forum. One is that we cannot take this as an accidental. We are seeing this as deliberate, intentional, and targeting the people of Northern Nigeria. Secondly, we cannot believe that this is an accidental because we believe it happened several times in the northern part of the country. Just compare it to yourself. How will you ever think that this thing is happening in the southern part of the country? Will the people keep quiet? Will they be allowed to be doing all these things? We are talking about over 100 people being killed. And these people include innocent young children and women. And the Nigerian Army are yet even to provide an explanation to that. In fact, they even started with a blame game. Nigerian airports are denying it, while Nigerian Army are also denying it. To the fact that they are even trying to claim that they were targeting a terrorist, or the terrorist has penetrated that religious festivity. So this is an insult to our sensitivity, it's an insult to the northern Nigeria, and it's an insult to humanity. So, as I said earlier, our stand cannot be different from that of the Northern Elders Forum. After we condemn it in totality, it is very unfortunate that the authorities, the concerned authorities about this issue are yet even to show remorse that some people are being killed in part of this country.
Okay, I'll come to you, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, spokesman for the Northern Elders Forum. Have you heard of any such investigation over the previous incidents as the Nigerian Air Force promised they would do last year?
You see, we don't have faith, we don't have confidence in the Nigerian Air Force or the military or the Nigerian military carrying out the investigation. The only thing we would accept is an independent inquiry comprising of credible people, credible leaders and elders, conduct a transparent and an accountable investigation. Because you see, they said, if it is true, why have they not made any arrest? I mean, that is questionable. I remember a policeman shot a lady dead in Vegas. Under 3-4 hours, the man was arrested. But how comes now, after getting to more than 50 hours, no arrest has been made, no mention of names, no mention of any suspect. But there has to be a suspect. There has to be someone responsible for the command. There has to be someone responsible for the surveillance. So if it's a surveillance failure, who failed? We're not being told. We have been told that there is going to be an investigation. We've had so much reports on previous investigations that align with the spin of history. And certainly we're not going to accept a repeat of that. We want credible, transparent investigation to involve credible individuals and leaders and community leaders. So honestly, we are not comfortable with the Air Force saying it will conduct the investigation. Well, you see, this is an agency that was even denied it carried out the attack. Initially, it denied it carried out the attack.
Okay, Mr. Suleiman, thank you very much. I want to go to Gbemisola Animasawun. Thank you, sir. Gbemisola, what do you say to the reports of the terrorists hiding in the community, or that community in the Igabi local government area harboring terrorists? Because the army says that they trailed these terrorists all the way to that ground zero where the strikes were launched. So how about that? It could be said also that the community had used, the terrorists had used the community as a human shield.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is in the nature of insurgency, or what I call small wars, to make use of established communities. And that is why the war against terror has no boundary. It's fought everywhere and anywhere. You know, I mean, it speaks to the mutability of terrorists. So that is nothing unusual. Moreover, if you take account of the own goals the military has scored in the war against terror, you will see that most of these have largely been in the northeast and the northwest. And it is largely because terrorism has no boundaries. You know, so that puts civilian and innocent communities at risk. So it's just typical of terrorists to exploit this space or this ambiguity in, you know, in doing the harm they do.
Okay.
So, yeah, I will not go to the military.
Sorry, thank you so much. We need to take a break now. I'm so sorry. But we'll come back and I'll take the thoughts of other guests on this issue of the community, you know, harboring terrorists or terrorists using the civilians there as a shield. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Politics HQ on News Central TV, still looking at the unfortunate incident of an aerial bombing by an unarmed aerial vehicle operated by the Nigerian Army in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, northern Nigeria. We have our guests with us, Comrade Jamilu Aliyu, Charanchi, National Coordinator of the Coalition of Northern Groups, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, Spokesperson for the Northern Elders Forum, and Gbemisola Animasawun, who is an Associate Professor at the Center for Peace and Strategic Studies in the University of Ilorin. I'll go to you, Comrade Charanchi. What's your take on the fact that, or the point that the community may have been harboring terrorists, or the terrorists may have been using the civilians in that community as a human shield? Okay, Gbemisola, whilst we try to re-establish a connection with our other guests, how do you think the Nigerian government should address, because of course, whether they were being used as a human shield or not, civilians have been killed. How do you think the Nigerian government should address the concerns of the victims' families and the community as a whole? You know, we're talking about people who have lost their loved ones. I read a report that said one particular individual said he lost 37 relatives. You know, so are we talking about compensation here? What exactly does the government need to do to address the concerns of these affected persons?
Thank you very much. I think we need to commend the military for at least accepting culpability. The Chief of Defense Staff came out, you know, openly and clearly to take responsibility. So I think that's a step in the right direction. Following that should be healing for the injured, and especially those still receiving treatment in the hospital. The federal government or the Nigerian military should take absolute responsibility for their medical expenses. Then that should not end there, because don't forget, widows have been created, orphans have been created. These orphans and widows should be given special treatment so that they will not have a negative perception. They will not grow up with an enemy image of the Nigerian military or the Nigerian state. Because in the war against terror, the weapons of war are as important as having the society on your side. And when you now start losing critical segments of the society, you are indirectly telling them that there's no difference between you protecting them and the ones you are protecting them against. So it's important we have a special plan so that beyond optics, you know, we are making tangible impact, serious efforts, committed efforts to use this particular one especially as an example of how to deal with mistakes.
Animasawun, a very interesting point you've raised about how the government should use this as an example of how they care for the people. But I'll go to you, back to you, Mr. Abdul-Azeez, for a final comment from you, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman. The president was in Dubai for COP28 when this incident happened. The governor of Kaduna State was also away in Dubai when this happened. It was a deputy governor who met with stakeholders, and the military were forced to own up that they were behind, or they were behind this attack. So are you satisfied with the response of the Nigerian government to the attack? Because the governor didn't cancel his trip abroad, the president didn't cancel his trip abroad. A statement was released about a day or two later by the presidency. Suleiman.
You see, it does not really matter whether the president is at home or abroad. But I think in the running of a government, there has to be a delegated responsibility. What bothers us is the length of time it took the government to respond. I think it was about 12 hours before the federal government responded. It was the state government Kaduna State government that responded promptly, and we are happy with its response. But you see, the federal government responded late, and even its response is not adequate. You see, what we expected the federal government to have done is to call the security chiefs and interrogate them. Not to just say we are going to pay compensation as if northern lives are for sale. You just slaughter northerners and you pay compensation. Besides, nobody even believes they will pay the compensation, because in all the other previous cases in Yobe, Adamawa, and the compensation have not been paid. So you see, it's a matter of reclaiming the trust of the public.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, spokesperson for the Northern Elders Forum. Our commiserations to all Nigerians including especially those in the northern part of the country. Also, Comrade Jamilu Aliyu, Charanchi, National Coordinator of the Coalition of Northern Groups, thanks for your time. And Gbemisola, Animasawun, Associate Professor at Center for Peace and Strategic Studies at the prestigious University of Ilorin. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you. And that's the size of our package tonight on Politics HQ. And of course, for this week, we had fun joining us. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same station. My name is Kofi Bartels. Have a great weekend.